Hello, I'm Hope Logan. I am an actor on Bold and the Beautiful, and many people really love both me and our Bold and the Beautiful drama. So I've come here to share updates about my beloved Bold and the Beautiful. Everyone, please subscribe and support me. If you do, I will keep coming every day with new updates for you. A new romance is beginning to bloom, but in true fashion, it may bring far more complications than happiness. As R.J. Forrester finds himself growing closer and closer to Melissa Dillon, the spark between them promises to ignite more than just a love story. Hidden beneath the excitement of a budding connection lies a tangled web of old emotions, unresolved rivalries, and relationships that are already hanging by a thread. What starts as a promising new chapter could quickly spiral into something far messier, especially for the people caught in the middle. And as feelings intensify and secrets come to light, it becomes increasingly clear that this romance may send shockwaves through several lives at once. For now, Electra Forrester has only pieces of the puzzle. She knows there is someone new capturing Dylan's attention, and her curiosity has been growing with every passing day. Yet Dylan has kept one crucial detail to herself, the fact that the man she has been developing feelings for is RJ. The truth remains hidden, lingering just beneath the surface, waiting for the inevitable moment when it finally comes out. And when it does, Electra may find herself facing emotions she never expected. Although she ultimately reunited with Will Spencer, she once shared a meaningful connection with RJ, and those memories are not something that simply disappear overnight. Deep inside, there may be a small flicker of jealousy, a subtle reminder of what once almost became something more. At the same time, Electra's reaction may not be entirely negative. Part of her could actually feel relieved knowing that Dylan's attention has shifted away from Will. For a long time, complicated emotions and overlapping relationships have created tension between everyone involved, and Dylan focusing on RJ could remove one source of uncertainty. Electra may even begin to see the relationship as a potential solution rather than a new problem. If RJ becomes fully invested in Dylan, perhaps his ongoing conflict with Will could finally begin to fade. After all, Electra has spent far too much time trapped in the uncomfortable space between the two men, watching their resentment toward each other grow stronger with every confrontation. The possibility of peace, however fragile, might seem worth pursuing. As those hopes take shape, Electra may begin imagining something even more ambitious. Rather than allowing old grudges to continue poisoning the atmosphere, she might decide it is finally time for everyone to move forward. In her mind, there could be a vision of friendship replacing hostility, of old wounds healing instead of reopening. She may dream of wiping the slate clean and creating a genuine friend group where everyone can coexist without tension. It is easy to picture her proposing the idea of a double date, convinced that bringing the four of them together could mark the beginning of a fresh start. On paper, it sounds like the perfect opportunity for reconciliation, a chance to leave the past behind and build something healthier for the future. Unfortunately, reality is rarely that simple. The history between RJ and Will is far too complicated to disappear with a single dinner invitation. Their resentment has been fueled by painful confrontations, personal betrayals, and moments neither man is likely to forget anytime soon. Will's infamous sucker punch remains a lingering source of bitterness, while RJ's role in pushing for Will's firing only deepened the divide between them. Those wounds may have stopped bleeding, but they have certainly not healed. Even if Electra and Dylan encourage peace, both men could find themselves struggling to let go of the anger they have carried for so long. Every glance, every comment, and every awkward silence could serve as a reminder of everything that happened between them. To be fair, Will has reasons to believe that some good came from the turmoil. In the aftermath of everything that transpired, he may ultimately realize that his move to Logan was exactly what his career needed. Looking back, he could decide that the setbacks and disappointments pushed him toward a better path. From that perspective, perhaps RJ's actions no longer seem quite as damaging as they once did. Yet even personal growth does not erase emotional scars. Understanding that things worked out in the end does not automatically create forgiveness, and forgiveness is exactly what this situation would require. The challenge is not simply moving on professionally, it is moving on emotionally. Adding another layer of tension is Will's complicated connection to Dylan. Despite everything that has happened, lingering feelings still remain beneath the surface. Whether he wants to admit it or not, part of him continues to care deeply about her. That emotional attachment fuels a strong sense of protectiveness, one that could quickly become a problem as Dylan grows closer to RJ. Watching someone he once cared about pursue a relationship with a man he already dislikes is hardly a recipe for peace. Every interaction between RJ and Dylan could become another source of frustration for Will, making it nearly impossible for him to approach the situation with an open mind. No matter how much he tries to hide it, his discomfort may become impossible to ignore. That is where the cracks in Electra and Will's relationship could begin to widen. If Will reacts too strongly to Dylan's romance with RJ, Electra may start questioning his motives. What begins as concern could look suspiciously like jealousy. The more protective Will becomes, the harder it may be for Electra to believe his objections are purely about RJ's character. She could eventually confront him, accusing him of still harboring feelings for Dylan and refusing to admit it. Such accusations would only add more tension to an already volatile situation. Instead of bringing everyone closer together, the proposed double date could end up exposing insecurities, unresolved emotions, and painful truths that nobody is prepared to face. As the evening unfolds, what was supposed to be a fresh start could transform into an unforgettable disaster. Old rivalries could resurface with shocking intensity. Hidden jealousy could rise to the surface. Hurt feelings, lingering resentment, and conflicting loyalties could collide in spectacular fashion, turning a simple night out into an emotional battlefield. Every member of this complicated group carries emotional baggage, and placing them all at the same table may prove to be a recipe for chaos rather than reconciliation. The deeper they try to bury their issues, the more likely those issues are to explode when the pressure becomes too much to contain. At the heart of it all lies a complex love quad filled with tangled emotions and uncertain intentions. RJ, Dylan, Electra, and Will are all connected by past relationships, lingering feelings, and unresolved conflicts that refuse to stay buried. Their lives have become intertwined in ways that make every new development more complicated than the last. A budding romance may have started this chain reaction, but it is the emotional fallout that promises to deliver the real drama. One thing is becoming increasingly clear. Whether the double date happens or not, trouble is already brewing beneath the surface. And when those tensions finally erupt, the consequences could change every relationship involved, leaving nobody untouched by the storm that is rapidly approaching. As anticipation continues to build, the possibility of that fateful double date begins to loom larger over everyone involved. What started as Electra's hopeful attempt to bring peace to a fractured group slowly takes on the feeling of a ticking time bomb. From her perspective, the idea still makes sense. She sees an opportunity to replace tension with understanding and believes that enough time has passed for old wounds to begin healing. Yet the deeper she invests herself in making the evening happen, the more she risks underestimating just how much unresolved emotion remains beneath the surface. Some conflicts fade with time, but others simply wait for the right moment to re-emerge, and this situation may be filled with exactly those kinds of lingering scars. Meanwhile, RJ finds himself entering unfamiliar territory as his connection with Dylan grows stronger. The excitement of discovering someone new brings a welcome sense of optimism into his life. Around Dylan, the weight of past conflicts seems lighter, and for a while, he may allow himself to believe that the future holds something brighter than the drama that has followed him for so long. Yet even as those feelings deepen, RJ cannot completely escape the shadow of his history with Will. Every step forward in his budding romance carries the possibility of reigniting old rivalries. The closer he gets to Dylan, the more likely it becomes that his relationship will be viewed not only as a personal choice, but as another chapter in an already complicated feud. For Dylan, the situation is equally delicate. What began as an exciting connection with RJ soon places her in the center of a complicated emotional crossroads. She may genuinely enjoy the growing chemistry between them, but she cannot ignore the tension surrounding the relationship. The knowledge that Electra, Will, and RJ are all connected through a tangled web of past feelings and unresolved conflicts creates an uncomfortable reality. Dylan may try to focus on the present, determined not to let outside drama interfere with her happiness, yet every conversation seems to carry an undercurrent of potential trouble. It becomes increasingly difficult to separate romance from the emotional history that surrounds everyone involved. At the same time, Will may find himself fighting emotions he would rather not acknowledge. On the surface, he may insist that his concerns are justified. He may tell himself that he simply does not trust RJ and that his objections stem from genuine worry about Dylan's well-being. But deep down, the situation may be far more complicated than he wants to admit. Watching Dylan move forward with someone else forces him to confront feelings he believed were long behind him. Every smile she shares with RJ, every moment of happiness they experience together, may serve as a painful reminder that life continues moving forward, whether he is ready for it or not. The more he struggles against those emotions, the stronger they threaten to become. Electra, ever hopeful that everyone can find common ground, may begin noticing subtle warning signs, a tense expression from Will, an awkward silence when RJ's name is mentioned, the uncomfortable shift in mood whenever Dylan enters the conversation. These moments may seem small on their own, but together they paint a troubling picture. Still, Electra may refuse to abandon the dream of reconciliation. She wants to believe that people can rise above their differences, that friendships can emerge from conflict, and that everyone deserves a chance at a fresh start. Unfortunately, hope alone may not be enough to overcome years of emotional baggage. As the anticipated gathering finally approaches, the atmosphere surrounding all four individuals becomes increasingly charged. What should feel like an ordinary social outing instead begins to resemble the calm before a storm. Everyone arrives carrying expectations, fears, and emotions they have not fully processed. Beneath polite smiles and attempts at casual conversation lies a fragile balance that could collapse at any moment. Every interaction feels loaded with meaning. Every glance carries history. Every word has the potential to trigger memories that none of them have truly left behind. If the evening does spiral out of control, it will not happen because of a single dramatic event. Rather, it will be the result of countless unresolved issues colliding at the same time. The resentment between RJ and Will, the lingering feelings Will still carries for Dylan, Electra's growing frustration with being caught in the middle, Dylan's determination to pursue her own happiness despite the complications surrounding her. Each of these emotional threads has been building tension for weeks, and bringing them together in one place may only intensify the pressure. The night could begin with optimism, but maintaining that optimism may prove impossible once old emotions start resurfacing. In the end, the greatest challenge facing all four of them may not be choosing who they love. It may be learning how to let go of the past. Every one of them is carrying memories that continue to shape their actions, influence their decisions, and complicate their relationships. Until those wounds are confronted honestly, true peace may remain out of reach. What appears to be a simple romantic development is actually exposing deeper emotional fractures that have been there all along. And as those fractures continue to widen, the possibility of heartbreak, betrayal, and unexpected confrontations grows stronger by the day. The stage is now set for a dramatic collision of emotions. A promising new romance is blossoming. Old rivalries refuse to die. Hidden jealousy threatens to surface. Friendships hang in the balance, and relationships face tests they may not survive. Whether the group ultimately finds reconciliation or descends further into chaos remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the brewing storm is far from over. As emotions continue to intensify and loyalties are pushed to their limits, the lives of RJ, Dylan, Electra, and Will seem destined to become even more intertwined. And when the next chapter unfolds, the consequences could be far more explosive than anyone expects. And perhaps that is what makes the situation so dangerous, not the arguments that have already happened, but the emotions that remain unresolved beneath the surface. For all four of them, the future seems to be pulling them in different directions while their shared history continues dragging them backward. RJ may be trying to focus on the excitement of a promising new relationship, but every step forward risks reopening old conflicts that never truly disappeared. Dylan may be embracing the possibility of something real with RJ, yet she cannot completely escape the reality that her happiness is becoming entangled with tensions she did not create. Electra remains caught between hope and uncertainty, desperately wanting everyone to coexist peacefully, while sensing that the situation may be more fragile than she originally believed. And Will, despite whatever progress he has made in his own life, may still find himself haunted by feelings and frustrations that refuse to stay buried. The irony is that each of them wants something relatively simple. RJ wants a chance to move on from the drama and enjoy the connection he has found with Dylan. Dylan wants the freedom to explore her feelings without becoming trapped in the middle of other people's conflicts. Electra wants harmony between the people she cares about and an end to the constant tension that has surrounded them for so long. Will wants to protect the people who matter to him while proving that he has moved beyond the mistakes and disappointments of the past. Yet when those individual desires collide, they create a complicated emotional puzzle with no easy solution. What one person sees as moving forward, another may see as reopening old wounds. As a result, every new interaction carries higher stakes than anyone realizes. A simple conversation could become a misunderstanding. An innocent comment could be interpreted as a challenge. A well-intentioned gesture could trigger resentment that has been simmering quietly for months. The closer these four lives become connected, the more difficult it becomes to separate present-day relationships from past emotional baggage. No matter how hard they try to focus on the future, the shadows of old feelings continue following them wherever they go. That lingering tension hangs over every possibility, waiting for the moment when emotions become impossible to control. For Electra especially, the burden may become increasingly exhausting. She has already spent far too much time standing in the middle of RJ and Will's conflict, feeling the pressure from both sides. The idea of a fresh start appeals to her because she is tired of being forced to choose between loyalty and peace. She wants to believe that people can mature, forgive, and leave old grudges behind. Yet the more she watches the situation unfold, the more she may begin to question whether everyone is truly ready for that kind of fresh start. Good intentions can only accomplish so much when emotions remain unresolved. Meanwhile, Dylan and RJ's growing connection may continue adding a new layer of complexity to everything around them. Every shared moment strengthens their bond, but it also increases the likelihood that others will react emotionally to their relationship. What begins as excitement and attraction may gradually become a test of whether their connection is strong enough to survive the outside pressure. Romance rarely exists in isolation, especially when it develops in the middle of existing rivalries and lingering attachments. The stronger their feelings become, the more significant the consequences may be for everyone involved. For Will, the challenge may be confronting truths he would rather avoid. It is one thing to claim that the past no longer matters. It is another thing entirely to watch that past standing right in front of you, smiling and building a future with someone else. Whether his concerns are rooted in protectiveness, jealousy, resentment, or a combination of all three, they have the potential to create serious complications. And if Electra begins questioning his motives, the resulting tension could create problems within their own relationship as well. Suddenly, a conflict that once seemed limited to RJ and Will threatens to spread outward, affecting everyone connected to them. That is why the sense of impending drama continues to grow stronger. The pieces are all in place. A new romance is blossoming. Old rivalries remain unresolved. Lingering feelings refuse to disappear. Trust is being tested, loyalties are being questioned, and emotions are becoming harder to ignore. The situation resembles a carefully stacked tower, stable for the moment but vulnerable to the slightest disturbance. Nobody knows exactly what will happen when the pressure finally becomes too much, but the possibility of chaos feels increasingly unavoidable. As the story moves forward, one thing remains clear above all else. This is no longer just about romance. It is about history, pride, jealousy, forgiveness, and the struggle to move on from the past. Every character stands at a crossroads where one decision could change the course of multiple relationships. Whether they find common ground or drift further apart, the emotional consequences promise to be significant. And with so many complicated feelings pulling them in opposite directions, the brewing trouble seems less like a possibility and more like an inevitability waiting for its moment to arrive.